Hello and welcome to Wise Exotics. I'm your host Trevor, and this will be July start of the 2024 video log series. Now, for those who are joining me, I grow Nepenthes, which are carnivorous finding species of plants. Typically, I always get asked my temperature range and if I feed them. Usually for temperatures 60 to 76. Hotter days, it can jump up maybe to the 80s. Currently, I am experiencing a heat wave, so it can be 80 to 100. Not fun. For winters, it can jump down into the 50s. Outside can even be into the 30s, but there is a baseboard heater in here. I do not have air conditioning. I do not do anything special. I just put lights, put water in a tray, and the plants thrive. So I do live in a valley that usually gets night drops because of a sea breeze. And feeding wise, unless the plant is struggling or has a new basil, I really don't feed them. If I do have to feed them, betta fish pellet, depending on their size. If they're a larger, older trap or plant, I'll tend to give them an osmocote, or the plant's struggling, maybe a couple of more fish pellets and or osmocotes. Just keep it in mind. If they're tiny plants, do not give them big pellets. Liquid fertilizers, fairly okay, as long as it's about 50 TDS with pure water. These plants require at least reverse osmosis, distilled or clean rainwater, so keep that in mind. Now, just as a quick tip for those of you experiencing any heat waves or worried about if plants experience too hot of a day, as long as the night drops are significant, I've had several very sensitive and or rare species not care. They might have been a little stressed, but overall, I didn't lose any of those. I've lost various hybrids because they could not handle the variance range for whatever reason, or they got direct sunlight that just barbecued them. So keep that in mind. Now, as for last time's discussion of the problem plant, Viking X Raft number 2 is still with us. It's a green little nub still. Hopefully it'll push a growth tip out that's healthy and new, and we'll be able to let it develop and get some more leaves going. Let's see. Of the VGI, a lot of them have got new leaves. VGI B Taffy, the one I call that, has a big leaf that's bigger than my hand. That's partially from the lowland genetics, to my understanding. VGI A, the red one, has a new trap developing on its new leaf. Hasn't yet filled or anything, but some fun little colorations. The dual leaf plant, putting a lot of nutrition to make this dual leaf. See how it cracks a little. This is a abnormal leafage. It's 2 leaves growing out of 1 growth tip, so I'm not quite sure how this will progress into a new leaf. I hope it will. But so Taffy's right here, starting to look more and more like its big sibling from Tyler, which was called Big Red. You can see right here is VGIA's new picture starting to push out. Hopefully it stays red. I like it for its red. Prior trap is very red. Stripes didn't really come in as I hoped, so not as intense, but hopefully that's just because it was in transit. Little VGIP's new leaf, and it looks like it's going to develop that embryo. Several of the VGI have jumps and whatnot. There's a lot of species here, and or crosses. VGI K, starting to get wavy leaves, but its new leaf looks a little happier than its prior one. Clippitas are fine. Adriani, starting on another big leaf and big trap. This plant is extremely vigorous. The Hamada AW1. Actually, I have this one listed for sale, but I've had several people want to buy it and go, I back out. It's like, okay. Can't afford it or don't have room. Totally understand. I do hold plants for people from time to time when I sell. Let's see. Trying to think. Sipulinensis is doing fairly well here. Pushing more little tendrils that slowly drop down. Took a long time for it. I think its next trap is going to be over here. Samudira. Now this is a newly described species, but one that's been in cultivation for a while. Samudira. BE3172, species number 1, Samudira. This is a male clone to my understanding. Likes a little shade, doesn't mind a little bright light, but liked it a little cooler, so I moved it to that edge. It did not seem to be okay with a lot of humidity. So I'm not sure why that angered it, but it kept getting irregular leaves, but in a way its leaves are getting bigger and starting to come back a little healthier. Yeah, neat little hybrid down there. Variety of species and specimens, as always. Minimax Candy Dreams, Red Leaf Exotics 73, if I recall. That's plant A, this is plant B. Both are developing quite well. All the hybrids and whatnot this way seem to be doing fine. As I said, here's the Minima X Mollis from the last time. My White Exotica plant Crossfukakusa Raff, Viking X Raff number 1, new trap. Old trap is there, so quite a few developing, whatnots. Of the Black Miracle X, or I should say Viking X Black Miracle F2s, the greener leafed one with black speckles actually has 2 basils, if I can show, so that was a nice little thing. They're literally growing right next to each other. Minima X, its Diabolica is developing rather tall. Yeah. Cherry Bomb, the all red variegated plant over there, actually starting to get white stripes in its leaves, which is, or not its leaves, but its traps. Single white stripe so far, but if its sibling did that originally, now has nice stripes in its traps. But now the sibling isn't producing pitchers because it's developing basils. Sad. Let's see, super glue. Nice reddish coloring on that now. Kind of like an orange red on the trap as it aged. Red Leaf Exotics 42. Just had a new picture way over here. I mean, look how wide these leaves are. They kind of like entangle with taffy. I've been trying to make it go away from taffy, but taffy and it are friends, I guess. That's another new leaf right there. Taffy's new leaf is fairly big right there. Let's see. My Adriani takes a little longer, but it starts with a yellow peristome, then goes to a red and darkens, but it's supposed to have almost black peristome to reddish. Don't know why mine's keeping the yellow. Lemon Cherry had a bit of a warp trap on its first one. It's really weird. The trap actually ruptured, but it still has fluid in it, so I'm trying not to spill the fluid. Looks like it's developing another new leaf on this side. A little leaf shrink, but it's trying to acclimate to the outdoor area. But even though I have high humidity here, because the humidifier is literally here, I'm not sure why it's, not acclimating better. Maybe it's radiant humidity to airflow. I don't know. I turned off the humidifier if you're wondering what the beeps are. I was readjusting its humidity level. So we'll go check out the tank. Here's a fun little hybrid. VGI Burb crossed with Stenophylla. Red leaf and green leaf. I hope that's from the Stenophylla. That one's probably one of my regular hybrids. It's not very stable and it always makes different colored traps. They all look around the same shape, but the actual coloration's always varied. But the red leaf is a new trick it's doing. Okay, so let's look over here. We'll talk about the seedlings. There are more! I have no idea what I'm going to do with 100 plus VGI, but dang it, I'll find a way. The Raja cutting is successfully rooted. That one's going to be heading out hopefully next week. The Akazukan X... No, Akazukan X bar. Sec to think, even though it's right there. I don't want to cheat. Ritz X Barrio from Cross Exotics. No germination yet. Now, strangely enough, the VGI room, who also got hers weeks after mine, she sowed them recently, almost instantly germinated. So I was like, dang, what am I doing wrong? Sometimes they germinate, sometimes they don't, sometimes they're late bloomers. Let's see. I tried a new media type. It was from Tiny Roots, which does bonsai, so it has Akadama washed 3 times. I still rinsed it anyway. Red lava rock and pumice. I mixed it with a little long fibrous sphagnum moss at the bottom and perlite just to give a little more spread out of the media type, so it wasn't too intense. They also have Kanuma and some other stuff for acid-loving plants and whatnot, so deciduous and the like. So my hope was to see if this new one helps with some of the littler VGI. So I didn't receive my new one, which is the 441 from Carnivoro. Already kind of getting red traps, so I put that in the new mix. This KX Barrio Squat I gave to the new mix. Its sibling is now with my friend who moved away. So there's that. That was a freebie for her. Now let's see, the Cobra X, the Barrio Malaysian Tropics X Cobra. Nice new leaf and picture, kind of. You can see the growth tip right at the middle there. Already starting to push through. I was actually surprised the 441 already pushed a new leaf through, or after I got it. Cercia, doing fine. Sumatrana, kind of mad at myself. I somehow broke the growth tip off of the new big leaf, so I was all excited to see it. And then I checked the leaf and I'm like, okay, somehow it didn't develop a node or I broke it off. But new node and leaf right there, so yay. Palaminensis, green leaf to one is quite awesome, developing another trap already way over here, but this one has just phenomenal traps. Nice and squat, red, striped, can't really complain. The other one, I had moved it in here, but it is more red Palaminensis, but still no stripes. That's my cat Zeus trying to tell me I should go play with him. It's okay, Zeusy. Now, going down, as you can see, that's some of the new things. So that's the pumice mixed with Akadama and red lava rock. I put Pudica in it thinking it would be a little bit more nutrient rich and see if Pudica liked that. It had initially tried to burrow this trap way on the right side here through the media, so I was hoping a little harder media would prevent that. I did check the roots, I did check the reading structure to see if there were any basils or traps developing. So far not at this size. To what I understand, they were typical at this size even to start putting out basils from the root up. This is Vichii x Seratinus. Both it and now its basil are decently sized. It's grown pretty rapidly. Let's see, here's a complex run. Very nice red trap already kind of forming. So this is a Truncata Campulata crosses Vichii the Wave that is then crossed with Song of Melancholy Crusclipiata. Whew, that'll be a fun tall one. Let's see, my seed grown. Yeah, Northiana is doing fine. My other Northiana was a little pissy. I'm not too sure why, but as I said in the last one, it was one of the ones that gave me wonky leaves. I had pulled it out to check to see if there was damage. It looked like the root went from this straight all the way down, so I unpotted it and I repotted it up just a little bit, and hopefully that'll help the rooting system and make it not have bad crinkly leaves anymore. The Bongsa siblings are doing quite well. Seratinsis, seed-grown one, nice big trap jump from that little trap over there to that one, so it's doing quite well. I found the leaves really interesting. I moved all the Vichii that are around the same size together over here. Nice red trap already on this one, and this one's also a little orange red. But this one's already got crazy color, I'm not gonna lie. That's a pink X Barrio number 2 from Samantha, aka Nepenthes Odyssey. There aren't very many of this, so it's really interesting to watch it develop. As you can see, the other ones near it aren't getting scorched or anything, so it's not like it's a sunburn. This one's starting to color up a bit too. That's Hose Mountain X Barrio. Okay, moving down the line. Rajas, look at this thing. The seed-grown Raja is doing quite well. Since I trimmed off that other basil, it had a nice leaf jump, so it's doing well. Still quite a few basils hiding in there. If you don't believe me, there's one right there. There's like 3 or 4 still on this mother plant. So I know that the BE3152, the entire group of what are called the Q clones, are female. So if you have a BE3152, it's more likely a female because there were only 4 in that group and all 4 have been confirmed to be female. Now my hope is this one will be a male and then someday I can try to do a Hort cross. This is the Kinabalu form and this is the Tambi-Yukon form. So there's that. Another interesting note, so this is my Macrophylla clone T. This is actually my largest and my second oldest macro. You can already see it's kind of getting little red traps, very cute. Supposedly Clone T was just verified to be a female, so I was like, cool, I have a female macro. Did not expect that. I mean, all this is random dartboard anyway, but let's see. The macro GSM call this. I call it Phoenix. This is a seed-grown specimen. To what I understand, was a middleman sold it to me, but it was one from Jeremiah Harris's group from 2018 or something like that. But it's coming back quite well. I actually cut the corner off of the bag, so it'll have a little more airflow, so I'm hoping that'll help stimulate growth. So it's right here, little Macrophylla clone 1998-23 from BCP. I actually have no idea what this will look like. I know some people said there's a good sized one out there. I can always find a reference. I have not found a reference for it. Velosa. My seed-grown Velosa doing quite well. We're kind of getting that reddish color with yellow rims, so it might just be typical Velosa coloring. Edwardsiana actually has a trap developing in here with Diabolica. Nice leaf jump. So it should be a good sized trap jump, hopefully. Quite a fun species to grow. I actually really like watching them pop because these ribs on the teeth lay flat, and then when it pops, they all go kind of like shift upward. It's really cool to watch. Velosa and Hamada do it too, but on the stouter Eddie is just kind of a neat thing to watch because the spikes are a little outer flared on the edge. I don't know, as I said, it's just my own personal take on it. Diabolica, doing quite well. This is a clone 4 female from AW. She has been doing quite well with me for quite a few years. I've been letting her moss kind of grow like crazy. I turned off some of the dead pictures. You can see a more active, larger picture there. I'm hoping these new leaf chumps will have much larger pictures, but that'll be in a couple of months. I was actually happy to get this. So this is Velosa X Hamada. I somehow called it a Vici Hamada, but I don't have Vici Hamada. I have a Velosa Hamada, BE4099. This one was from Cross Exotics. Nice big leaf jump. It's getting dark because I did up pot it. I put, because people are always asking me, what do I put these in? Eddie's in Pure Akadama, by the way. So are most of my macros and Velosa. Pure Akadama. This one I did put a little bit of perlite in just because I want a little more drainage. Let's see. For the Diabolic and Velosa Hamada, there is actually coconut bark in there because that helps with boron. You can see for them to pull that nutrition out. This macro actually has, and that's because Kuja Orchid does that too. So it seems to be quite useful for most of the more sensitive toothy plants, and I've never had a problem growing the Diabolcan in the last few years. So keep that in mind. Moving down the line, we got the Nebularum. Really weird as it tucks its pitchers under its leaves. And I even talked to my friend Josh, who actually has a much larger one, and a basil. I really want its basil, I won't lie. His Nebularum is from the Mount Mayo. This is from the Mount Hoffus group. He even said there's another little trick they do where the pitchers are actually like rotate to follow the light and others. Whereas if you look at Rob Cantley High, the pitchers and leaves spread out very wide, kind of like a star pattern. And they don't really try to put the traps under the leaves, so it's a neat thing to figure out. The now confirmed Ultra Highland Singulana gets very dark, very palm tree-ish, kind of like having a mini little palm tree. In this tray is sundews, baby sundews that a few did pop. I'm probably going to put one in with the Eddie or the Diabolica at one point, just because it was one my friend Mike gave me, and I want to put it somewhere where I can always check on it. Anyway, Attenborough guy, doing fine. Marilliana, seed grown, doing good. My complex from Greenwood Exotics, doing great. I planted them slowly, calling Red Unicorn is there. Okay, someone's running on the roof. Besides that fact, Leonardo doing quite well. It's got long leaves, it's very long tendrils that drop little traps, slightly toothy already. Starting to color up on its newer traps down there. As you can see, it's a little yellow but little red speckles, so it hopefully will get more redder, kind of like Mira. So this is our one-off, or as I'm calling it, the Red Unicorn. Ventricosa Magia AS crossed with Rocco Bosch. That's crossed with the Vici. That was confirmed to be a yellow striped male plant. So this is our one-off weirdo plant. Big leaf jump. Did pop that trap. Still keeping that really toothy parasem, very stout. Hasn't colored up yet. As you can see, the other one colored up kind of yellow-red with toothy. So, bit of a trap reduction, but hopefully overall it comes back for us and develops well. As I said, no real issues. Let's see. I do have one plant hopefully coming Saturday, and that is the Veitchii Aime. That is Exotica plants A and B were crossed together at Carnivoro. I won it at one of the auctions. Drew's caught me with it. It was 45 bucks. Couldn't complain for a small plant. When the extra small are going for $49, so it was kind of like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. Save like 10-15 bucks, and I can try to grow a seed-grown Aime. So my only real Aime I believe I have, or like hybrids I have, is the Raja Aime, which I know is very temperamental about colder temps and shade. That's why it's way in the back corner. Clipiata X Aime Loea Veitchii, and my Glandulifera X Aime are the only hybrids I have of that, and they grow quite fine in my conditions, so I'm pretty sure I can grow a pure species. Now, I am kind of thinking about getting an Aristocoloids, or Aristolocoloids, or I just call them Aristos because I can't say that name. It's like Albomerigonata. That one took me a while to say correctly. I still have my Albomerigonata. It's on the back side, right there. If anybody is wondering. Let's see. The Cephalotus is doing good. I did move it, and I did post a cheat sheet for it on, if you're looking for it, one of those who always like to do the where's Waldo or where's the Cephalotus. It is visible right here in this side. Did not put it in the tank, so it's in the open air area. Now, if anybody has any questions, feel free to comment and whatnot. If you have problems with your setup or need some one-on-one consulting, feel free to go pop over to Instagram and, talk with me. I'm Wise Exotic. One word, same little green owl as my YouTube. If you need help or just advice or are thinking of getting some of the species or starting out, I'm happy to help. I don't charge anything. I'm happy to talk plants. It's fun. Now, if anybody's interested in buying some plants, I do have some for sale again. I probably won't have those new Grexa Veitchii out for a while. So far, my friend Black Thumbs did not have success on his batch of those seeds, but mine are growing. As I said, the Ritz Expiro, I haven't had any luck germinating yet, but the Veitchii room did. Maybe I'll have to trade her some with my other set someday. I was curious to see how that would develop. Hopefully my two pots, at least one or two, germinate. It's not uncommon for these to germinate later. I only had my other yellow parasem, brown parasem, cross Maraud Striped X Candy Stripe. That set germinated after about 2 months, and I only have had the cross stuff for about a month-ish. So I was thinking probably more toward the end of July it would pop. But it was just amazing to see the Veitchii room already had hers up and about, already starting to get little sprouts. So a little jealous, but I do have 100+ other little Veitchii seedlings, and that was my first try, so extremely vigorous across that. Let's see. At this time, besides the Aime, I don't have any other plans to get any plants. As I said, I am thinking about getting an Aristo. I have a hypothesis that I'm going on, and some of you know it, with Samudera crossed with an Aristo, and see if I could make a kind of ancient rigidifolia, because it's already been noted that Samudera's leaves and the parasem shape are identical to rigidifolia. It's so tall and big. Now, the only other species near Samudera that can cause a shrink and give that camo pattern is Aristocoloids, or Locoloids, whatever, Aristo. So my current hypothesis is that rigidifolia derived as a hybrid, similar to maybe Rob or some of these other species, like they believe, Mollis started as a cross between Veitchii and Fusca that somehow bred back together and created its own species. My hypothesis is, this is again just a personal one for me, looking at the two plants and seeing how they develop, I'm of mind to think that rigidifolia derived or started initially from some sort of hybrid between those two. That's just my thought. It could also be a cousin species. Who knows how it started, but that's just a hypothesis. So my hope one day was to get a female Aristo to breed with my male Samodira. Anywho, I hope everybody the best and happy 4th of July of those who celebrate it. And until next time, might do intermittent videos in between. Haven't really had any thoughts of discussion type and whatnot. If anybody has questions, comments, or any suggestions, feel free to post. And again, if you want, chat with me on Instagram. Trevor out.